Today we're going to talk about mechanical drift on a micromanipulator and how to correct that. This is the popular version. This is a KITE. This manipulator axis may begin to move gradually under its own weight, even if it's not being touched. This is called mechanical drift, and it happens from normal use of the manipulator over time. And each of these course axis controls micromanipulator have their own adjustments. So this procedure is very similar to the one we used for adjusting an M3301. It also works very similar on an MD4 or an MMJ. So when we're looking at this, here's your x-axis control, here's your y-axis course control, and this one right here is your z-axis course control. And inside here, you see an adjustment ring. Okay, right there you see the adjustment ring inside. There's a little tiny hex screw right inside there we have to adjust. All right, so to do this, we're going to start with the x-axis control. And the first thing you do is drive it all the way out so that you get a little more room in here to work. These are aluminum, and if you put a pair of pliers on it directly, you're going to scratch it all up. So to keep it looking nice, we're going to wrap it in it's just a folded piece of paper. If I put the paper around there and wrap it, then I can hold it with a pair of pliers while I put my adjustment knob in there and loosen it up. Then I'll pull this off. Once that nut is loose, the silver knob will turn freely here, and we can adjust that outer ring to prevent the axis from moving while we're making the tension adjustment. And we'll hold this securely, and then we'll just rotate this until it's right where we want it to be. And you can feel the resistance of the knob inside as it compresses down against the steel spring and the nylon friction components. Somewhat arbitrary, but when the amount of tension feels about right, then you use your adjustment tool and your wrench. And you tighten it back down. Once you got it there, then you want to push on it here and test it, the movement. Test the drift resistance of the axis by pushing against it with your hand and see how easily it moves. When the tension is adjusted correctly, it will not be easy to move the axis when you're pushing it. If the action feels too tight or too loose, then you go back and you unscrew it again and you do it again. It may be necessary to repeat the procedure a couple times. Typically, the goal is to get the tension just right, enough to prevent the axis from drifting under its own weight, but not any tighter than necessary to achieve this end. The correct amount of tension often occurs within a very narrow range of adjustment. And if you make it too tight, the knob will be harder than necessary to turn and you'll wear out frictional components in here. So this requires patience. Take your time, do it a couple times until you get it right. And then you're going to do the same thing on the y-axis. It's the same control. If the manipulator is operated in the standard position with the electrode clamp located, right above the manipulator body, then the y-axis doesn't typically drift as much unless, it's tilted to the left or to the right. Adjusting the z-axis is a little bit different. You need a little tiny screwdriver, and that fits right down in here. And there's a tiny screw inside, and you're gonna loosen that and rotate that ring to adjust the z-axis. So that's how you adjust drift on a KITE. If you have any questions, just give us a call.